student loan garnishments are scheduled to take in effect procedurally May 5th, 2025. According to Trump's administration, all individuals who are in default with their student loans are now entered into a space of repayment through wage garnishments.
The Education Department says it will resume collections on defaulted student loans beginning May 5th. And in order to accomplish this, the department says it will go through the Treasury's offset program. It collects people's debts by garnishing things like their tax refunds, federal salaries, Social Security benefits. The Education Department says more than 5 million borrowers are in default on their federal student loans. 4 million more could default in the next few months. Less than 40% of borrowers are up to date on their payments. Andrew Pentis joins us now. He's a consumer lending analyst and certified student loan counselor at Bankrate. So thank you for being here. No federal student loan has been referred to collection since President Trump paused that during his first administration. That was March of 2020. Walk us through how we got to this point.
Yes, it really all dates back to the CARES Act that Congress passed in March 2020. So this is really a 5-year time span across 3 presidential administrations, now continuing with the second Trump administration, where borrowers have not had to make payments on those loans. It's been renewed again and again, but now this newly formed, newly shrunken Education Department is basically telling borrowers, now is time to foot the bill and start facing these consequences, particularly when we're talking about impact to credit. And then, as you mentioned there, the impact of being in default and facing potential debt collection and the consequences associated with that.
So prior to this, were defaults not reported to credit bureaus, and that's now changing? And what is the impact of that? And what should people do who have defaulted?
Yeah, so the Biden administration gave basically a 1-year on-ramp for many federal student loan borrowers, where he said that those late payments wouldn't count towards credit reporting. And what that means is that if you were late on your federal student loan, you wouldn't see your credit score dip. Now we're seeing that happen, in addition to those debt collection tactics, which will begin in early May. So if you are in that category of federal student loan borrower, or maybe you're delinquent, or maybe you're already in default, you have a couple options to get current with your loans. You can start to rehabilitate them by making payments to your federal student loan servicer, or you could consider consolidating them with your federal student loan servicer, and to get that lower, more affordable monthly payment, apply for an income-driven repayment plan.
There may be some other options out there, but if the default is not corrected and a borrower is not placed in the correct income-based plan, then it's likely that a garnishment up to 15% of income will be extracted from wages. There's a lot going on politically, okay, that are affecting citizens financially. And in regard to GLP1 accessibility and retainment, looks like this may be a negative implication of such. Because here's the thing, we know student loan borrowers are of many age groups. A lot of the borrowers are still baby boomers. A lot of the borrowers are Gen Xers, and a lot of the borrowers are millennials, me. So a lot of the old heads, as you call it, are still in default debt with student loans. So I would recommend to check with your lenders. Check with who your lenders are, Navient, Nelnet, whoever you with. The status of that default, see what options you have as far as debt consolidation, and then applying for an income-based driven payment for student loan repayment. Now, those who are in public service student loan forgiveness programs, those individuals technically are not listed as default. I believe the default applies to balances that are legally in default, and they are just hanging in a limbo for repayment. Default, maybe possible forbearance. I believe all those forms follow under a default. But once you move with the action of debt consolidation, that takes you out of default, my understanding. Please, those who are really savvy with student loan technicalities, tap in the comment section and provide some substantial information. It definitely would be useful, because a lot of us out here are student loan borrowers, okay? We're working, trying to get by, pay what we need, but within reason. We're not trying to go poor paying student loans back, okay? We're not trying to hit rock bottom paying student loans back. And here is the problem that this is going to cause, and it's going to present another layer of thoughts for Lily, okay, in regard to the GLP1 medication, in regard to the zepbound, the Mounjaro. Even Novo Nordisk has to take this political climate into consideration in regard to the continued revenue of purchase through Wegovy and Ozempic. Here's the dilemma that these garnishments will present, because a lot of these individuals, I'm sure, have health issues, weight related, and they are patients. Many of them may be patients of GLP1 medication, whether brand or a compound. Dealing with garnishments and cutting money from citizens' pockets are going to cut the revenue sales of GLP1 medications. Say, cutting the money via garnishment from GLP1 users who may have student loans are going to cut the revenue of GLP1 medications. So what that means is that loan borrower may not be able to continue to purchase GLP-1 medications as before. Now, to the powers that be, to them, they're like, look, debt comes over GLP-1 medication. They looking at the $1 trillion debt the country's in, and the debt individuals have for acquiring a degree that most people are not using on the government's dollar. So at the end of the day, they're like, look, GLP-1 or satisfy this debt. To them, is satisfy this debt. But to the mass folks who are dealing and living with a grueling condition that needs to be monitored on a regular basis through incretin medications such as glucagon-like peptides, this causes a major disparity and a major potential grievance. It will leave individuals in a state of financial crisis. You can't stop the garnishment from hitting your check. But once it hits your check, how are you able to one, handle the rest of your personal economy, meaning your bills, what bills you already have aligned for the month? And if you included GLP-1 as that bill, more than likely that will have to fall by the wayside or just completely omitted, and look to other tools to help you achieve weight loss or maintain your weight until financial parameters allow otherwise. Because with garnishments hitting even at 15%, that still is a pretty high percentage for a salary. You're not talking about 15% off $100. You're talking about 15% off of somebody's salary they're receiving a month, okay? Or they're receiving broken up every 2 weeks. And from my understanding, GLP-1 patients purchase monthly if they're not already in some type of bulk payment arrangement situation with a telehealth provider. I believe Mochi offers, I'm not sure if they still offer it, but offers bulk purchasing pricing. Orderly offers bulk purchasing pricing, in my understanding. As well as Amble now offers payment plans, essentially for, you know, multiple purchases. But theirs is more so just issuing you out this medication every month on a calculated auto withdrawal payment plan. I don't believe it's giving you all the medication at one time. It has you on a plan to automatically receive your distribution of your dose each month. So they pretty much has servicized it by locking people in with a card and holding them to a payment plan that has to residually continue. You know what I'm saying? So they're constantly getting paid. The medications are constantly in circulation. There's no pause unless you actually go into the portal and request a pause. So Amble knows what they're doing. Amble is servicizing this thing, okay? Amble is turning it into a service fee situation. I'm not sure if Amble still allows just the regular purchase of a compound just at its price, or it's more so now pushing payment arrangement options. Because, you know, there are some patients who don't want payment arrangement options, who still, like me, I don't need it coming out my account nonstop. I'll just pay the $379. You get what I'm saying? I'll just pay that for the vial and that's it. Now, I don't know if that's still available. If that option is not available and they're only customizing based off of the legalities that's occurring, which is probably why they are customizing things, I don't know, that one vial would just be an option a month without me being on automatic withdrawal. I gotta check back into that. See, a lot of things is changing in lieu of the many lawsuits and cease and desist letters that are going out to accredited compound telehealth providers and low tier compound telehealth providers, okay? So there, and I think to come in the future, there are going to continue to be a pushing fight for Lilly to gain the brand rights solely for Zepbound and Mounjaro. So that's that. But I mean, but aside from that, at the end of the day, if people are hit with garnishments, honey, how do you think people are going to afford to pay your $4.99 for the vials? You know what I mean? How is anyone going to be able to afford the pricing for the Nova Nordisk Ozempic pens or the Wegovy pens? Even though they're drastically cutting price, they will have to go down even further. And this is going to be interesting. How further are the pens going to go down, given this political climate? This financially political climate right now, the economy is sinking, or it feels like it's sinking, and civilians feel like they are losing their sense of survival. Many of us feel like we need to be engulfed in a hustle culture for the rest of our lives. Some type of legitimate hustle side job to add to the additional income you got coming in. Feeling panic when your savings account hit below a threshold. Okay, come on, let's talk about it. Getting a little itchy. I gotta hurry up and get out there and make some money to put me back over my threshold, to put me at a semi-comfort level. But how comfortable is it? It's not. It's not comfortable for me unless I have 6 figures in my account. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's when it's comfortable for Jasmine. When I got 5 to 6 figures sitting in my account, they don't gotta be high figures. All I need is 5 to 6 figures in my account and I'm straight. But that's not how it is right now, okay? It's not how it is. It's what we are working toward. We as a collective, I'm hoping y'all working financially too, because just sitting on one income in this climate is not going to cut it. Sitting on one income, being single and living alone ain't cutting it unless you're making the figures. And if you're making the figures, you still gonna have to sacrifice somewhere, because you're gonna be tired through and delayed to produce, and may not have the area to actually enjoy the fruits of your labors, because you're constantly sowing in the fruit. You're constantly planting the fruit. You don't got time to enjoy it once it grows, because you're on to something. You're on to planting something else. All I know is that I know I have student loans, and I'm technically in the public service student loan forgiveness program. My stuff was already submitted and cleared and in place, and I check adamantly, rechecking the status on that, okay, all the time, because you never know when something may change. If something already went through, because a lot of these public service forgiveness loan programs have already went through for public servant workers. A lot of them from departments that Trump is not going to touch, like departments that are not going to receive complete omission, like the criminal justice department, you know, legal departments, you know, which my stuff is associated to criminal justice. So, you know, that is an industry that will forever be in demand. Forever. Why? Because unfortunately people don't know how to live life legitimately. Let's just be, people commit crime all the time on various levels. And when that happens, it has to be processed. And a whole bunch of other things have to occur on behalf of defendants' rights, and consultations, and social workers, and case workers. You got all types of people involved once a case is created, because there's so many mechanisms of defense that can be presented. So I'm thankful I'm in a position as high in demand and forever will be. However, you just never know. I need more. It's just me. I need more. So when I'm hearing this garnishment, it's setting me a panic, just like it's setting everybody else a panic. Like, wait, hold on, let me check. Go through my paperwork. Let me check and make sure my stuff is still in default, and that it ain't about to come out, not default, that my stuff is still in forgiveness and is not coming out of forgiveness. Child, Trump got everybody on their toes, experiencing extreme anxiety. And I know I'm bringing in GLP1 into this. I'm like, is that really the most important thing to think about when people are losing wages, potentially losing wages as a result of garnishment? How about let's put importance on surviving by paying your bills? Because at the end of the day, GLP1 medication don't matter if you don't got the money to pay your rent. Oh God. GLP1 what? Don't even matter if you don't have enough money to pay your bills. And that's what Lily needs to understand. You need to pay close attention to this political climate, because that is dictating your revenue. That is going to dictate your GLP1 sales. This political climate and your inability to lower these prices in an effective way to appease the market. Otherwise, you may as well leave compounds in place, because really, in this political climate, the compounds are more appropriate for servicing. You talking about student loan garnishments and all that. This is dating back to folks in the baby boomer age. It's people that got student loans that are 50 plus still. and you about to start garnishing wages and garnishing Social Security benefits. Everybody, your grandmama, your mama, if they went to school, you better check your paperwork. Check your finances. I hope you got some savings in place, because you just do not know what is going to go left and what is going to go right. But what I do know is I'm going to do my best to maintain on GLP-1 if possible, you know. But in the event let's say you can't do GLP-1 because you get hit with a garnishment and it puts you in a position where you short on your rent, but you just making it. I mean, you don't know when you'll be able to pay for the next GLP-1. Where does that leave the market? That leaves the market is a slowly tanking based on this political climate. So in order to keep it afloat, y'all gonna have to make prices that accommodate the political climate. Your prices, GLP prices, GLP-1 prices should shift according to the political climate. So it should shift down. And that's, that's my concern here. Y'all want to retrieve all this student loan money and just intrusively put your hands in people's incomes and disregard what other financial responsibilities that these individuals already have. What things are they paying for? What medical ailments and issues they have that cause them to have to pay for additional medical services? Y'all. Student loaners, check your paperwork. Call your Department of Education that's still there. Call your lenders. Go tap into the FAFSA website. Put your login information just to pull up and see what's going on with that loan, what they have stamped on that loan. Because when I pulled it up in my FAFSA, the loan was no longer there. Hey! Oh God. I'm sorry. Look, I'm hoping that meant like, hey, it's gone. Yes, Lord. Don't make me start shouting. That's the pastor's daughter that will come out to me in a minute, okay? Don't get it twisted because I got my belly out. Don't get it twisted I got my belly out. I still love the Lord, okay? And the Spirit still flows up in me. That never leaves, all right? Because I could start speaking in tongues in a minute. Listen. When I saw that, you no longer have a balance. I said, yes, God. But still, is it really real? I am on it every week. I am on it. Like white on rice. Y'all know my name by heart. Calling in. Just checking. Nothing changed, Jasmine. Nothing changed. Yeah, I'm just checking to make sure. Because I ain't got time to be dealing with no garnishments, okay? I would be in a whole different mental state right now if I had to deal with some garnishment. Don't garnish my checks. Don't garnish my checks. As hard as I'm working and living up in here, do not. Okay? Do not. I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Be real.